Welcome back to another episode of Coldstream Rod Shop. I'm Derek Fraser. In this week's video, we're going to work on the camera lady, or the camera lady is probably going to do the most of the work on the camera lady's Roadster. Last week's video, we got the wood shaped for the back. We have some dummy foam here right now. We're going to position that in there, see what we like. Then we're going to go out and buy a new piece of foam for the back. The intention is to put a relatively flat piece of foam with the same kind of curve into it, as well as the red piping across the top, and then kind of have the foam overlap and fill in the back here. We're going to work on that. One other thing I noticed on the front of the Roadster here is that it's sitting a little lower. It looks really cool the way it sits, but there's not a lot of clearance here between, I can barely stick my finger in here between the frame and the leaf spring, which is kind of the same situation we had over there on the 29. Now on the 29, I put 2 more leaves into it. I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to lift her up and put another leaf in, see if that pulls it up. And even on the shocks, we only get about 3/4 of an inch of travel there, so I don't think that's enough, unfortunately. You know, the frame is relieved there, but that's just not enough travel, so gonna have to fix that on this episode. We did get the hood fitting a little better. I think last week's episode I did some work onto it. It is much better than what it was before. I did put a shim on the driver's side to basically twist the radiator shell over a little bit and get my gaps a little more even there. I may put another one in, but we're getting probably 95% best fit on this right now. So anyways, and hopefully tomorrow another project is coming in the shop. So follow along and see what it is. So here's the next project. As I was saying, there are more projects coming in. Wasn't 100% sure which one was coming next, so I couldn't say. But this is a 1933 5-window coupe. The body has been sitting around in my friend's garage for probably 30 years, and it sat probably just as long in the place before that, before he bought it. It's all original steel. We're not going to be doing any body work to it whatsoever. Might be some fitting issues, but there's no rot, there's no rust. As far as I can tell, there's never been a quarter panel or a door skin replaced onto it. So kind of really an exception, but I guess it's a product of its being stored well for a very long time. The chassis is a chassis that we worked on before. You know, 4-bar front end, unisteer steering. We made a toggle mechanism to use the original brake pedal and with a new master cylinder. In the rear, it's dual leaf springs with a 9-inch Ford rear end into it. Those are not going to be the wheels that he runs on them, but it's the rollers right now. I'm not going to paint this car, but basically we're going to hook a lot of this stuff up, gauges, engine, get the radiator into it, get the hood onto it, stuff like that, and basically get it running and driving as a patina car. So we'll just take one thing at a time that he asks us to do. We'll work on it, we'll show you what we're doing, and then there will be another vehicle going there, another body. So follow along. Well, the camera lady was working on the rear seats. She had cut a piece out that was actually fit me really well, fit her well. Then we went and bought some foam at the fabric store, and it's either too firm or they gave us the wrong stuff. So it's Sunday now, so we got to wait until Monday to go get either replace that with the right density foam or get a softer one, because it's just too stiff. So anyways, what I decided to do in the interim was, I had mentioned about the leaf spring sitting too close to the frame. So I've jacked it up, pulled the leaf spring out, and I'm adding in one more leaf. The one that we had only had 3 leaves into it with these plastic bushings. Like I said before, we drove the Model A like that for like 10 years, but I didn't realize that we were bottoming out a little bit. So didn't want to make the same mistake again. So instead of putting 2 leaves in, like we put 2 leaves in the Model A, it's up, it's got a good, ride or whatever. We still kind of want it this low. I'm going to put 1 leaf into it, see how that works. And then if necessary, we'll put another one in. But I think 1 more leaf will add that extra thickness of the leaf as well as the spring rate to the spring to bring it up a little higher. So anyways, I'm going to put that spring back in, get her bolted back together again, and see how it looks. There it is with the spring put back in and everything bolted back up. Still have a pretty decent rake on the car, still happy with that. And now the final result is that I actually have some travel on the shock. I think before I had like about 3/4 of an inch or less. Now I'm probably about 1.5 inches. And then also the space between the leaf spring here and the frame, I could barely fit my fingers in there before. And now there's probably, I don't know, 1 inch plus clearance there versus what we had before. So I think we're in a much better position to have it not bottom out when I hit some of the ruts or the bumps on the roads. And we still kind of have that nice, I like the rake. I know some people want it as low as you can go, front and the back. I'm a little bit more older and old school. I kind of like just a little bit of a rake going forward. So we still got it. We solved that next problem. So as I stated earlier, the International Roadster that we worked on a couple of years ago, we set it aside. I brought it over here into the working garage, and basically we're digging out the parts that came with it from about 1.5 or 2 years ago, kind of putting things together, seeing what we have, what we don't have, what's going to fit. Part of the project is to use a lot of kind of cool original parts. There'll be a few aftermarket parts. Everybody picked up on the Divco wheels. Those are going on this project. They're 17-inch for the front and the rear. Then for the front end, there's a 5-inch dropped I-beam axle. We were going to use those wishbones, but those are 32 to 34, and the spring perch height on those is 2 inches. And as we both figured out, the axle is 2 1/4. So just in the short term, I had some kind of scrap bones that are, I guess, 35 to 40 or something like that. They're the straight ones. I had to cut the spring perches off of the front, clean them up a little bit, and then put a tie rod end onto it. Just to kind of, I wanted to do that just to try and mock things up and get the front end of this Roadster kind of rolling, so to speak. It won't be put permanently together. Another thing, unfortunately, we realized we had 2 different springs for the front end. One of them is way too short, and then the second one is probably 1 inch too short. I had to compress it to put in there. So one of the things that we want to do with the Roadster here is, because we're running those 17-inch Divco wheels in the front, it's gonna keep the front end up. So what we want to do is lower the suspension as much as we can. That's why we have a 5-inch dropped axle. If we were to use that spring, unfortunately, it would raise the front end up too much. So we're going to have to look at getting a different front spring. Like I said, just kind of going through parts here, inventorying what we've got, telling my friend what we've got, and then looking for what we need to get. The brakes and the spindles on the fronts, there are original 37 to 41 spindles and some kingpins. Those are, I believe, are Lincoln backing plates and brakes. And then we've got hubs and Buick style drums that will go on those front front drum brakes. So kind of a lot of the parts here. Unfortunately, this week, this is kind of more of a inventory, see what we got, see what fits kind of thing, and then what we have to get kind of thing for this project. So just giving you a tour of that and kind of the thought process of the build and kind of, well, figuring out what we got to get. So this might be as far as this week. We're going to go on the Roadster. I'm going to try and shift gears now and do a little something with the coupe. So that's it for another week of Coldstream Rod Shop. I'm sorry it's another short video, but just the way things worked. We did get the spring sorted out on the front end of the Roadster. I got her sitting a little bit higher, so I got some better spring travel. I still have the rake that I wanted, but that was kind of bugging me just because it was something we went through on the Model A. I knew with that much clearance between the spring and the frame, it's probably okay, but I just wanted it to be a little bit better. So that's sorted out. A little update on the cushion on the back. I mentioned that it was too firm. We went back to the folks that sell the upholstery foam, and we've come up with a new solution. We're going to trim it down. We've got some softer stuff to put onto it that we'll glue on top and make it more comfortable. Hopefully we'll sort that on next week's episode. Then on the International Roadster, it was not so much of actually getting something done, but figuring out what we've got and what fitted. As I said before, we worked on the International Roadster over a year ago. My friend that owns it, he sent a bunch of parts. I knew that I had to go through the parts to see what did or didn't fit. Unfortunately, fortunately, we figured out what we need to do, so we're not going to jump on it right away. So we'll hopefully get another spring and another set of radius rods or something else for the front end. That'll happen over the next few months. I'll keep you up to date on what's going on with that, but in earnest, that project is really not supposed to start until later on this fall. He's coming to visit us probably in August sometime, and we're going to go over the new plan for it and see what we come up with. And then on the new project that came in, the 33 5-window coupe, I'm kind of excited about that just because of how good that body is. There literally is no metal work to do on it. It's all original. Been sitting around for a long time, and then finally now it's going to get made into more of a patina rod, I guess, if you want to call it that. So I've got a few things we got to work on that. Some stuff on the floor, a little bit of wiring, radiator, and a whole bunch of the steering wheel and column. So parts for that will come in. So more or less that was introducing that project to you, telling you all the things we're going to do, some of the things I haven't figured out that I need to do, but we'll go through that in the upcoming episodes. And then this week, it's July 1st, Canada Day. So yesterday we went to a car show, spent the day there. Actually won a radio, which was really cool. I never win anything at a car show, so that was kind of neat. I've got a new radio for the other garage. The other one was kicking out, so happens eventually. So what we'll do a couple clips of some of the cars we saw at the car show at the end of this video. But that's it for this week at Coldstream Rod Shop. We're back to kind of working on 3 projects, 2 Roadsters and a 33 5-window coupe. Come on back next week, see what we're up to. Hopefully we'll get this thing for a test drive. Take care, everybody.